first of all, he loves you to life. And I'm just thinking about the moments when you was on the field with him and just showing him, just showing him little things. And he took all that stuff to heart, everything you do, everything you say. And you have no idea how many times I use you to get on his butt.
Narrative. Doesn't fit your narrative.
Narrative? I don't understand your emotional investment in Shadeur.
Tony, I'm rooting for the kid. Don't worry about what my investment is. Worry about what your investment is with your guy. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about why I like a guy. I think that kid can play better than Dylan Gabriel. I said it before the draft, and I'll stick to it. I think he got a raw deal here in Cleveland. End of story. That's how I feel. Don't tell me how to feel.
Begins not with a shout, but with a fervent defensive whisper in the heart of a believer. A father's voice crackling with pride and protectiveness cuts through the static of post-game analysis. First of all, he loves you to life, the voice insists, painting a portrait of mentorship and absorption. Everything you do, everything you say. This is the human bedrock beneath the spectacle, the private lessons, the unspoken bond between a veteran and a rookie. It's a testament to the investment that exists long before the cameras roll. Then the voice shifts, clashing with a skeptical world. Don't tell me how to feel, I think that kid can play. This is the prelude, the rumble before the earthquake. It's the declaration of faith in Shadeur Sanders, a belief that he was wronged, that his potential is being constrained. And then the tectonic plates of the NFL narrative truly shift. The earthquake arrives not from a disgruntled fan or a hot-take artist, but from the summit of the sport itself. The greatest winner it has ever known, a man whose very name is synonymous with clutch performance and icy logical excellence, chooses to speak. Tom Brady from the broadcast booth doesn't just analyze a play, he detonates a verdict. He labels a coach's decision in the dying moments of a Cleveland Browns loss as coaching malpractice. The whisper of a devoted supporter is suddenly amplified by the roar of a legend. This is no longer about a single two-point conversion. This is about trust, development, leadership, and the very soul of a franchise desperate for salvation. The spotlight, harsh and unrelenting, fixes on head coach Kevin Stefanski, and under its glare, every decision, every philosophy begins. To understand the magnitude of the inferno, one must first see the spark. The context is everything. It's a late November Sunday in Cleveland, the air biting and thick with the perennial hope and heartbreak that defines Browns football. Rookie quarterback Shadeur Sanders, the much-debated, much-scrutinized mid-round pick, is not just managing the game, he is authoring a statement. Against the Tennessee Titans, he throws for 364 yards. He delivers 3 pinpoint touchdown passes. When the game is on the line, he engineers a masterpiece, an 80-yard, 7-play drive in the fourth quarter, a mix of audacious throws and poised checkdowns, culminating in a touchdown that brings the Browns to within a single score, 23-21. The stadium vibrates with a raw, hopeful energy. Sanders has done it. He has battled, he has produced, he has placed his team on the threshold of redemption. Then comes the pivot point, the moment that will be dissected for weeks. 24 seconds remain. One play stands between the Browns and overtime. The ball rests at the 2-yard line. The logical, the emotional, the football decision seems self-evident. Put the ball back in the hands of the young quarterback who just orchestrated an 80-yard symphony. Let him finish what he started. Let the rookie taste the ultimate pressure, succeed or fail with the game in his hands. Instead, Kevin Stefanski sends out the field goal unit, and then, following a timeout, something else entirely. Sanders is pulled. The offense lines up in a Wildcat formation, a direct snap to a running back with the quarterback relegated to a decoy or worse, a spectator. The play, even before the snap, looks unsettled. The alignment is messy, the timing is off, the snap is fumbled, recovered, and a desperate lunge forward is swallowed by a prepared Titans defense. Game over. The air evacuates the stadium. On the sideline, Shadeur Sanders stands helmet in hand, his expression a complex canvas of confusion, frustration, and resignation. The immediate aftermath is a typical post-loss murmur. Questions about the play call, second-guessing from analysts, muted frustration from fans. It's the standard noise of a tough loss. But this noise carries a different frequency. Because watching from the Fox Sports broadcast booth, a pair of eyes that have seen every possible permutation of NFL pressure saw something that struck him as fundamentally, philosophically wrong. Act II, the Inferno, the Gospel according to Brady. Tom Brady's analysis begins not with fury but with a methodical, almost forensic reconstruction. Let me make sure I understand this right, he says, his tone deceptively calm, the quiet before the storm. He lays out the facts like evidence before a jury. 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, a flawless clutch drive. He was firing off big-time throws, he showed serious calm, real poise, and clutch energy. Then, the pivotal contradiction. And then when the moment that matters most arrives, the coach pulls him off the field. You can hear the shift in his voice. The cool analyst recedes and the hyper-competitive, deeply principled quarterback emerges. His voice gains volume, intensity, a palpable heat. "I've been in this situation hundreds of times," he states, and the authority in that statement is unassailable. You put the ball in the hands of your best players. You trust the people who carried you through the fight. You don't get fancy. You don't overthink it. This is Brudda's core football truth 1, trust your horses. It's a mantra born in the mud and blood of countless fourth quarters. It's not complicated, it's elemental. Sanders had become, in that second half, the Browns' prime horse. To Brudda, benching him wasn't a tactical choice, it was a betrayal of a fundamental covenant between player and coach. Then he pierces the heart of the matter, speaking not as a broadcaster but directly to the psyche of the young quarterback on the sideline. "If I'm Shadeur Sanders right now, I'm questioning everything. I'm not sure if my coach trusts me." With this, Brudda elevates the critique from strategic error to developmental sin. He understands that a quarterback's currency is confidence and that this currency is fragile. That's exactly how a quarterback starts doubting himself, hesitating, and losing confidence. And then, the phrase that becomes the headline, the brand on Stefanski's decision, that's coaching malpractice. The words hang in the air, seismic in their implication. This isn't a bad call. Malpractice suggests a dereliction of duty, a failure in the core responsibility of nurturing and putting a player in a position to succeed. It implies harm. When the greatest to ever do it declares your action malpractice, the football world has no choice but to stop and re-examine everything it thought it knew about the situation. Brudda, now fully ignited, dismantles every possible justification. The ghost of a bad snap earlier in the game. You practice the snap exchange. You don't just scrap your whole passing game because of one mistake. That's like saying, we threw an interception earlier so now we'll never throw again. The logic of the Wildcat itself. When does the Wildcat ever actually work when it truly matters? You don't call that when the entire moment comes down to 2 yards and the season is basically hanging in the balance. His tactical breakdown is ruthless because it's rooted in a lifetime of empirical evidence. The decision fails the eye test, the logic test, and the history test. Brady's critique then expands beyond the quarterback, painting the broader, more devastating impact on the team's ecosystem. He shifts to the human element, the connective tissue of a locker room. You got offensive linemen who just powered through an 80-yard drive, you've got receivers who made tough grabs, you've got a running back who pushed the whole drive forward. His voice becomes a conduit for their unspoken frustration. And then when the biggest play of the whole night shows up, most of those same players aren't even on the field. Here Brady articulates core football truth 2. Chemistry is built on shared crucibles. The players who fought together for that 80 yards were in essence told their work was insufficient for the final most important yard. The message as Brady reads it is one of conditional trust. It sows confusion and breeds quiet resentment. When a locker room stops believing in its coach, the connection fades, the trust disappears, and without trust, leadership doesn't work anymore. He highlights Myles Garrett's post-game comments, measured, supportive of Sanders, yet pointedly questioning the decision as true leadership. It's the veteran star gently but firmly pointing out the fracture, trying to protect the team's most valuable asset and the unity of the group. Garrett's words are the canary in the coal mine, and Brady signals that the entire football world is now listening to its song. To underscore the profundity of Stefanski's error, Brady reaches into his own past and that of coaching legends. He contrasts the decision with the ethos of his early days under Bill Belichick. Coach Belichick believed in me even before I had fully proven myself, and that trust lit a fire inside me. He speaks of being thrown into high-stress situations and being given the chance to own them, succeed or fail. That trust, he argues, is non-negotiable for quarterback development. He then names the modern paragons of quarterback cultivation: Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes, Kyle Shanahan with his protégés. These elite coaches hand their quarterbacks the tools, the responsibility, and the real game moments they need to grow. They let their players learn by actually playing. The implied comparison is damning. Stefanski, in this critical moment, acted in opposition to the very philosophy that has built the league's most dominant offenses and resilient quarterbacks. Most powerfully, he invokes Bruce Arians, his coach in Tampa Bay. Arians let him throw, let him take control, let him run the offense. He didn't pull him off the field for trick plays during crucial drives. He looked him in the eye and said, "Tom, go win the game." The anecdote is a masterclass in empowerment. Brady positions Arians' method as the antithesis of what occurred in Cleveland. One coach built a legend's confidence in a new system. The other, in Brady's view, undermined a rookie at a pivotal moment. The narrative then escalates to the highest level of the franchise: ownership. Brady addresses the rumors of Jimmy Haslam's emergency meeting with a gravitas that acknowledges the weight of the moment. "I don't want to own anything in these situations," he admits, recognizing the difficulty of an owner's position, but his message is unequivocal. He frames the dilemma in stark, existential terms. After decades of searching since 1999, Cleveland may finally have a young quarterback with legit upside, someone with strong fundamentals, the right background, the right work ethic. Sanders is not just a player, he is the potential end to a generations-long curse, the most valuable asset the franchise possesses. Brady then delivers core football truth 3, the one that dictates the fate of franchises: you protect the quarterback. If the coaching staff is doing anything that slows down his growth or chips away at his confidence, then ownership has to step in and address it. He doesn't explicitly call for Stefanski's job, but he draws a line in the sand. The development of the potential franchise quarterback is the organization's paramount concern. All decisions, all coaching philosophies must be filtered through that lens. If they are not aligned, a choice must be made. The future is more important than any single coach's ego or game plan. The firestorm ignited by Brady's commentary does not die down, it settles into a pervasive, smoldering scrutiny. The story is no longer about a lost game, it is now a multi-layered drama encompassing 1. The psychological reckoning. What is the state of Shadeur Sanders' mind? Can the rift in trust Brady diagnosed be repaired? How does a rookie navigate the storm of having the GOAT question his coach's faith in him? 2. The leadership crisis. Can Kevin Stefanski regain the unquestioning trust of his locker room after being publicly eviscerated on points of principle by the sport's ultimate authority? How does he address the team? Does he double down on his process or publicly recalibrate? 3. The franchise crossroads. What does Jimmy Haslam do? Does he issue a vote of confidence, apply quiet pressure, or make a dramatic change? The malpractice phrase becomes a specter haunting every future close-game decision Stefanski makes. 4. The league-wide lens. Brady has set a new bar for analyst criticism, deeply personal, philosophically grounded, and carrying the weight of history. He has also issued a manifesto on quarterback development that every GM, owner, and coach will now be measured against. The quiet, passionate defense of Shadeur Sanders that opened our story, "He loves you to life, I'm rooting for the kid," has been validated by the loudest voice in football history. But that validation comes with a cost. The protective mantle has been replaced by a blistering spotlight. Cleveland's season and perhaps its long-term future now hinges on how it answers the questions Tom Brady so forcefully posed. It's a narrative about more than X's and O's, it's a saga about belief, betrayal, and the fragile alchemy of building a winner. The whistle has blown on the game, but the real contest for trust, for confidence, for the soul of the franchise has only just begun.